Here with us now, Scott Martin from Kingsview Asset Management, a Fox News contributor, and Kevin Kelly from Recon Capital. Scott, big drop after hours. Do you think things will settle down?
Yeah, I think they will, David. We got to dig in what happened with the EPS there, because that's really the key. I mean, the revenue number was okay. I think the problem Amazon has is now it's becoming a victim of their own success.
Right.
And so what you see is when they meet revenues, that's not really good enough. Remember, though, this is a company that was notorious for really bad EPS numbers in the past.
Right.
I mean, they were making profits
were negative.
Years.
It was only a year and a half ago they turned that around.
So,
but Kevin,
so
now they have all these other facilities going for them. They got AWS, which is their internet, sort of helps you go with the cloud and the web. They have all of their services, their Prime services. They're getting $6 billion a year in subscriptions alone for that.
Yeah, what's interesting to note is we'll have to hear the guidance, and I think that's really going to dictate the market action on the stock. I mean, we're seeing it rebound already. People really want to see that revenue grow because they are consistently reinvesting in their businesses, like you mentioned, with AWS, which is the backbone of the internet. Also with their Prime, they're trying to gain more Prime users. So you can't really focus on the bottom line. It's always about the top line, and they're focused on growing that.
Well, we're talking about the web services. Cheryl, you got some more info on that. Go ahead.
The thing is, what I find really interesting here is for the web services, operating income $861 million versus $428 last year. So they doubled in web service operating income from last year. So that's a positive. The bar could have been set so high with Amazon, in particular with their cloud services, that could be one of the things that we're seeing in the sell-off right now in the stock.
Okay. It's actually coming back a little bit. Maybe that's because they're going over those numbers that you just mentioned.
Right. The numbers flash so quickly. The press release is 6 huge pages. So there's a lot to go through for all of us right now. That's the thing.
All right, so we're getting more information about Amazon. Let's take a look at the e-commerce and retail business. Amazon Prime subscribers are on the rise since 2014. You all know this out there. This is the amount of items listed on Amazon Prime has increased by 10 million since last year that you can get on Prime. Kevin, do you use Amazon Prime? I live by it. I bought probably 4 or 5 things on the way to the studio today.
Absolutely love it to death, and they've done a great thing. Amazon Prime, they're using other storefronts. They don't actually have to carry a lot of inventory. They're just the middleman, and that's a great business model. So you're seeing a lot more items offered on Prime, and Amazon doesn't even need to hold those that inventory. So it's a great service, and that's why people are signing up, even from music and video. So they are competing and winning awards in their Amazon Prime Video space.
Scott, I always wonder how great a business it is for them, because I'm a Prime user. I'll buy, a roll of Scotch tape on Prime just to have it delivered to my house by itself. You pay that one fee per year, which they keep raising, but it's still not that much to accommodate how much. I mean, I'll buy 4 or 5 things a day that we need at the house and not go out. I figure they must be hosing me on margin.
Yeah, well, Prime is the best deal on the planet. Let's not get anything wrong here. And I'll tell you what, Melissa, I mean, you buy Scotch tape, I buy gum on Amazon Prime. Now, that's an add-on item, so you have to buy something else, and that's really the point of Prime, guys. Remember, years ago, Melissa, not so much you and me, but a lot of poo-pooers said, oh, Amazon Prime's not going to work. Well, what is it doing? There's more Prime members than there are no Prime members, and also that's into the higher echelon of income earners who actually spend more because they're Prime members. So Prime is the best deal on the planet, and also they're doing content, too, guys. Keep that in mind.
Let me jump in, because this is a huge afternoon. We've got so much going on. Breaking news right now. Google parent Alphabet reporting third quarter results. Let's go to Ashley Webster. He's got those numbers. What do they look like, Ashley?
They look pretty good to me, Melissa. If you look at the earnings per share coming in at $9.06, the estimate was for $8.63, and then on the revenue side, the estimate was just around $22 billion, coming in at $22.45 billion. So they beat on earnings and revenue, and then you dig it down a little bit. We're moving higher, as you can see, after hours. Paid clicks were up 33%. The ad revenue was up 18%. It was up 20% in the last quarter, but still pretty strong. The the cost per click down 11%. That doesn't sound good, but the less the cost to per click, the better it is. So down 11% means more money for Google. The only other thing that sticks out to me, the so-called other bets, the moonshots, the cars, those types of things. The operating loss was $865 million. So that's quite high, but overall, the revenue coming in up 20% year over year. So that's why you're seeing this stock move higher after hours.
So it was 22.45 versus 22.05. So a bit of a beat there. Okay. Great, Ashley. Thank you for that.
Now, I promised I was going to tell y'all why they changed the name. Of course, Google, Scott Martin, is the real moneymaker. 80% of the money from Alphabet comes from Google advertising. They wanted to start all these other projects, the self-driving car, new web services, etc., and they wanted to do that kind of separate from Google. That's why they started Alphabet as kind of an umbrella program so that they could get these independent operatives going and run them as new enterprises, very exciting new enterprises. But they're spending money like crazy. That's one of the concerns. Is it a concern to you, Scott?
Not so much, David. I mean, the numbers are looking pretty good to me. I mean, you got to spend money to make money, and I guess to borrow a lyric from Billy Joel, I mean, she's always Google to me, and that's kind of what I think of when I think of this company, regardless of what they do in the future. And YouTube looks really strong in these numbers, and also don't forget the Pixel phone. That's brand new, and in light of Samsung's problems, yes, some of the customers are thinking about going to Apple, Google will probably pick up some of those as well. That's a big moonshot that could work out.
By the way, Kevin, they have I have a chief financial officer, Ruth Porat, and she's kind of pulling in, she's cracking the whip on some of these free spending enterprises that they have. A lot of people have been quitting as a result. The CEO of two of these sort of sub-companies, subdivisions, have quit recently. Is that a concern? Because we now see, actually, it's trading in a bid below what it ended the day at.
I don't think it's a big concern, and she's always been a good steward of capital. That's why the stock shot up when they brought her over, and she knows what the street wants to hear and what they want to see. And this is a great way that she divided the companies, because we can focus on how they are growing, whether it's YouTube, whether it's their mobile ads. Getting back to those people that are quitting, that's part of it. She wanted to separate it so CEOs could take over and they could actually silo and see who's performing and who's not performing. So if people are leaving, it's probably because they're not performing and they're about to get axed and they're going to cut Google Fiber. So it's a good way for them to look at the different business lines siloed, so they know whether they want to continue to reinvest in those businesses or not. So this is actually a good thing.
Okay, Scott and Kevin, we'll be back with you shortly. Well, Alphabet's next step.